Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to a new series of tutorials on Korg Gadget. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe, and because it helps with growing the channel, bringing more tutorials, giveaways, etc, etc. Before I kick off with the first video, I thought it was a good idea to actually kick off a new series of tutorials on Korg Gadget, starting from the very beginning, as also it has been suggested from a number of subscribers. So I hope that you will find the series interesting. Of course, I will start from the beginning, like this first video, so that everybody can learn how to use Korg Gadget, and then I will move as I progress through the videos into more advanced topics. I'm using Korg Gadget inside an iPad, so on iOS, and I have purchased already all the gadget. I would like also to say that it is not a sponsored video, so Korg is not sponsoring any of these videos. So what is Korg Gadget? Well, it's a DAW. It's a digital audio workstation. I would say that it's still an evolving one. It has a lot of different gadgets, more than 40, and each gadget brings a number of presets of instrument, more than 6,000, so it's actually quite rich now as a selection. Each gadget is really like an instrument. So what you see on the screen at the moment, which is a little bit empty, hopefully it is what you see when you run the first time Korg Gadget. It might be slightly different if you already used it in terms of what you see on the screen. I'm using version 3, by the way. There is also a light edition as well, which you can find on the App Store. For the purposes of this series, I'm using the full edition with all the gadgets already preloaded, and also associated apps and other AUV3 or other instruments that Korg has published, which are linked to the gadget, which I will show you as we move forward with the tutorials. Okay, so let's start from the top left where you see this icon. Click on it and you have access to a main menu. So where you see the arrows pointing to the right, it means you can access submenu. So for example, if I click here on the new, you access the submenu for the new menu item. Here you can choose a name for your project, or you can click on these arrows here to randomize one. And that is why sometimes you find these interesting names for your project, okay? You can decide the destination. In this case, on my iPad, you can change it. Of course, you can go to Dropbox, for example, iCloud, etc. Click OK. Now, it will show you this screen where it is asking you to select a gadget on an instrument. You are in list mode. You can see here, list. You can go also in search mode where you can search a preset, okay? The number of presets you can search on depends on the gadget that you have, of course, available. I find the search here really useful here if you want to search, for example, specifically for a plaque, or for a bass, etc. Or if you know already which gadget you want to use, you go on list, and then of course you can browse scrolling up and down. The top one is your favorite gadget, and then you have a category for drums, and you can scroll, you see left and right to see how many other gadgets there are. Below that you have bass and guitar. Below that synths, you can see you have many different synths. So it's quite rich, and some of them represent, of course, previous synths or famous synths. Okay. Now, below that you have keyboards, and which is again quite good. Here you find Darwin, which is the analog of IM1. Okay. Then you have audio as well, so you have sampler, recorders, and also guitar effect processor, which is really great. And also you have a module to do Midi output. Now, I really know what I want to use. I want to search for a module that play Premier Acoustic Piano, and here it is, Salzburg. Of course, I could have come here on search and I could have typed SAL, and it would have found in a similar way that gadget. Now, when you click on it, it will load it, and it will load it. You can see at the bottom here, it says Salzburg as a gadget. Now, again, in the middle here, you see track 1, And track 1 corresponds to the gadget or the instrument that you have loaded. It's like a track on your mixer, for example, or another track on another DAW. Okay. And then here you have what are called scene, because you can group many different tracks into scene, and then you can enable scenes to be played. It's like confining part of tracks or part of songs into different scenes, which you can, of course, switch between, similar to clips that you have in Ableton Live, for example. Okay, but of course inside a track you find the measures, as you can see, and your typical piano roll view. Now you can click on back here to exit that view. So when I click on it, I went inside track 1 where I have Salzburg as a gadget. Okay, and you see the piano roll here with, on the left hand side, the names of the different notes. Here it says 1 bar, and these are the subdivisions, so in quarter and so on and so forth, which can be configured. Now let's go back, so exit that track 1 view. Okay, next on the menu here we can create also a new project selecting a genre. Like for example, I can say mellow electronica. Here it gives you also the tempo. You click on it, and then for each of the tracks here, drums, bass, chord, solo and effect, you can choose one clip to load, and you can select different additions. What I like of creating a project like this is that it creates a template. Is using a template, so you have different tracks already loaded with corresponding, as you can see at the bottom, different gadgets of instruments. So track number 1, drums, is using this particular gadget. The bass is using Miami. The same for the next bass. The next bass is using Madrid. Then Kamata for chords. Wolfsburg for the solo effect, Memphis, and Otori for those Sega Genesis type of sounds for effects. And this is a scene, and you have multiple tracks which are associated to multiple instruments. So hopefully that makes sense. Now you can also open here and you can search previous projects that you have created in different locations, of course, and you can search. You can save as with a different name, and you can import as well. You can import the standard Midi, or you can import from Korg Gadget from Nintendo Switch, because it's also available on the Switch as well as on Mac OS as well. And you can also export. So for example, you can export to the cloud version of Gadget, or should say the Gadget Cloud. You can export to files, Dropbox, Audio Share, Ableton Live project, and also standard MIDI file. And then, of course, for each one of them, it gives you different option and a location as well. Okay, so moving to the here to the right, you have this world icon. You click on it, and this is where you have access to the Gadget Cloud. This is where users upload their composition. They can share them between each other. You can play some of them. You can like them, further share them. You can follow one particular user. You can see the top chart, the new releases, the featured one, check the notification, your account, and so on and so forth. Okay, so okay, so that is nice and easy to use, and of course you have a view of what you are following as well, for which of course you need to sign in. As you can see, you can create an account and therefore sign in. Okay, so then you have an eye here for information. This gives you information on Korg Gadget version 6.01. You can go to the product page and privacy policy link, and then some other links here, for example, to the newsletter, the Facebook link for Korg app, and also Twitter. Then moving to the right hand side, you have these three icons. The first one, when you click on it, it maximizes the bottom part of Korg Gadget. It's like bringing up the console, the mixing console for Gadget, which will reveal additional controls for all the different gadgets. And of course, when you don't want to use that or you finish, you can click on the same icon. It minimizes itself and then it gives you more space here to play with different tracks and different scenes. Okay. Additionally, when you have this open, of course, it's easier to manipulate, for example, pan controls. And here you can go on solo, you can add effects, accept input, for example, from different MIDI sources, because yes, you can connect the MIDI controller as you would expect. You have a main track here as well, where, for example, you can add a limiter if that is what you're looking for. But what is very interesting is, of course, the ability also to add effect here, and it moves you to a different view, of course, where you can add different effects. So you bring these up like so, and you see you are in this effect view where you can then click here, no effects, scroll up and down, and add an effect as you like, up to 5. So that's very useful. Okay, you can go back to the gadget view here, or also to a play view where you have a nice arpeggiator, which I will cover in one of the future tutorials. So I'll click back to exit that view. So the setting icons here, the Korg icon allows you to enable Bluetooth MIDI connectivity, your MIDI input mode, easy advanced, what type of MIDI sync, internal, external, automatic, if you want, able to link on and off, if you want to learn transport CC messages, if you want note preview, yes or no. You can adjust the metronome volume. You can change the appearance to follow the OS, light and dark, and you can link it to a Dropbox and then go to additional settings, which will open up the settings inside your iOS device. And then, of course, here on the question mark, you have access to the menu, which will allow you to go to the manual help center and to report a bug. Okay, so in the middle, as I mentioned, you have scenes, and you can click on the plus sign to create another one, or you can, with one selected, you can click to duplicate like so, right? And it says to copy because I duplicated. And as well, you can also turn a loop on so that when you finish to play, when it gets here to the third scene here, if the loop is on, it will start again to the first scene. Okay, and when he plays a scene, it will play all the different instruments, and inside each instrument, it will play each of the bars which are defined here. Okay. I should say also that this icon here, which brings up the visibility of the mixing console on the main view, when you are inside the track, it will bring up the view of the gadget. So like in this case, and of course, you need to have selected gadget here to see the gadget. So if I was to go back here and I go to Miami and I click on it, you see the gadget Miami because, of course, the view is maximized. And of course, I'm in gadget view. Of course, I can still go to effect and play, as I mentioned a moment ago. Okay. So, a lot already covered, but let's continue. So down at the bottom here, you have also a function button. If you click on it, it allows you to access the additional options against each track and scene. So where you can, for example, clear the content of a track, copy, mute it, delete the scene, change, for example, the tempo. I will show you all of that in coming tutorial. And so on and so forth. But additionally, what you can see when this is on, it allows you to change here the gadget because you have a link which now says change. Again, additionally, if you disable that and bring up the mixing console here and you press on function, again, you have additional option here for each of the gadget. You can delete, duplicate, also freeze. When you freeze it, it practically renders the file using the particular gadget into a waveform, and therefore it uses less CPU when playing songs. And that is particularly useful, for example, when you start to hear, for example, artifacts when playing and when the audio is not clean. So remember, you can do that. You can record here. You have a button for record, stop, play, and then repeat here. And then you have option for tempo. So you can adjust your tempo, tap, you have metronome on and off, and of course, swing options. So Let's click on New here, and let's click OK. Let's click Salzburg, and there it is. Let's go inside the gadget. By the way, you can see you can go inside in multiple ways, clicking on the track here, or clicking on the gadget here, and there you are. Now, as an example, here we have a natural grand piano. This comes from the Module Pro app. Indeed, if you click here and you scroll down, you find at the bottom some additional presets which come from a library which I purchased through the Module Pro. And if you want to check in terms of MIDI controller, you can see when it says here all, click on that. And then when it says all inputs, click on it, and you can see the inputs available. In this case, I'm using a keyboard, which probably is not the best MIDI controller. It's an MPE to play piano. That is why you could hear some notes triggering, because I was just lightly touching some of these move keys on the keyboard controller. And again, to show you very quickly how you can use effect. Click inside here and scroll down. Let's choose a delay. Let's click again on the next effect here, and let's add really nice. And remember, you also have an arpeggiator, which I will cover in more details in one of the upcoming tutorials. But if I click, let's choose alternate one. Really great. So hopefully this is okay as a first introduction to start using Gadget. As I mentioned, we'll come back with other tutorials very shortly, depending of course on the number of views and the success and the interest that I see on the channel. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.